This episode was brought to you by Pentester Academy, the leader in online cybersecurity education. Join over 10,000 professionals from 90 countries to learn security online. Also brought to you by Hacker Arsenal, artillery for cyber warriors. Visit us on hackerarsenal.com to check out our latest attack defense gadgets. I'm Marley Oxenholm from Pentester Academy TV, and welcome to our show, Access Point, where we spotlight cybersecurity companies and give an inside look at the people and technology behind the latest advancements in the industry. Today, I will be speaking with the company Elastic Beam. I'm sitting down right now with Bernard Harguindeguy, who is CEO of the company. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Marley.
Absolutely. I got a lot of great questions here from our tech team, so you ready to get started?
Yes, we are.
All right. So can you tell me more about the founding story of Elastic Beam and why you decided to start the company?
Yes, thank you. Well, I built my last company around storage optimization for big data center. And most of my customers were large banks, large hospitals. We had about 150 banks as customers, to give you an idea. And we noticed with some of the largest banks, we were deploying APIs, that they were running into security issues already. And that's back 3.5 years ago. And so a good friend of mine was one of the founders of RPG, the leading API gateway company that Google just bought recently. And so actually I was on a trip in Italy on vacation, came back from vacation, and the next day called Uday. His name is Uday Subarayan. I called Uday. I said, Uday, what are you doing? Let's get together. We literally got together like a day or two later, and right away we engaged on that. And so it took a few months before we put the company together. And by the end of the year, that's December 2014 by then, we had put the legal structure in place. Actually, I put the legal structure in place, start to get money in. Just about everyone I'll talk to will want to put money in. So we raised a few $1 million very quickly in a matter of a couple of weeks. And we put a team together. So by early 15, we had a team together. The main reason was really we noticed, and that's still true today, that APIs were being implemented at a very fast pace. That the only thing protecting an API was an access control, username, password, or ID and password, and nothing else.
Wow.
And we know that never stops hackers.
Nope.
And so we knew we had something we could do there. So we built a company on that premise of API security from the very beginning.
Wonderful. Well, tell me exactly what Elastic Beam does exactly.
So we do a lot of unique things, which is surprising, right? Because the world of API gateways has been around for a long time, but we are still today the only one that can auto-discover all the APIs in an environment.
Really?
Very many times you have VP security who will tell you we don't know where all the APIs are. So we auto-discover all the APIs. We can give you everything connected to an API. We can give you all of the traffic on the API down to every command used by anyone. In the world of API, we call that a method.
Wow.
And we use AI to inspect the traffic continuously to detect hacking.
Okay.
And then we thought it'd be even better to detect a hacker immediately when they start touching APIs. So we built an API deception environment, which is like a honeypot with fake APIs that are embedded within real APIs. Wow. So as a hacker tries different APIs, if he touches one of those, we recognize it instantly. We block him from using anything else. And then we have source of attack, attack payload, and the whole thing. So in general, two things we do, right? All the traffic on the API and capturing, detecting, and blocking hacking.
Okay, wonderful.
That's what we do.
Got it. And so now what stage is the company currently in terms of, fundraising and bootstrap?
So we've had lots of funding, of course. So we're 3 years in, full production, customers, and we have solutions now that run in Docker containers with Kubernetes, Docker containers with OpenShift. Done a lot of work with Red Hat. We run in Amazon with AMI images. We're certified in Azure. You can run virtual VMware, virtual Hyper-V, Microsoft, bare metal. The solution is very versatile. It's all Linux-based, so Red Hat 7, Ubuntu 14. And so we'll talk more about solution, but almost everything is auto-configured, self-learn, very little to do, multi-cloud.
Got it. And about roughly how many customers would you say that you have?
We took the company out of stealth in the end of June, early July. Everybody started to reach out to us. You can think of the largest bank in the world, the largest pharmaceutical, the largest retailers. So we're working with a lot of companies.
Wow.
And today we are over 12 customers.
Wonderful. Okay.
In the last less than 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so now, why is API security so important?
So it's a big question.
Yeah.
Almost everything these days everything is a digital asset, right? So it can be your bank account, your Instagram account, your Facebook account, or
Everything.
APIs, right?
Yep.
Every data storage environment, data access fronted by an API or multiple APIs. Applications, APIs. And these are all human-driven applications, right? Then you have the whole world of IoT, Internet of Things. Sensors, machine, all consuming APIs. They communicate via APIs. Microservices, so big applications are being broken into smaller apps that communicate together. We call them microservices. They communicate via APIs. And so the world is moving toward interfacing everything that's digital via APIs.
Yeah.
It's an exponential growth. And there's nothing really standing in front of hackers beside normal access control.
Yeah.
So we've seen some big attacks recently. Instagram was one of them.
Yes, that's
and
right.
So account takeover, and that's a typical first thing. An account is taken over, and then like also the Apple photo theft was also an API attack. Now, photos of celebrities were stolen.
Yes, I remember.
But you know
that.
what? No one would have known that unless the hackers had posted the pictures.
True.
And that's the problem with APIs attacks. Most are undetected.
Yeah.
Instagram, the hackers made itself known. Accounts were taken over. T-Mobile had what we call an ethical hacker. Proved to T-Mobile that you could put a phone number with their APIs and grab the account of any of their subscribers.
Wow.
Then you could call T-Mobile with a special ID number that they give to every customer and get a new card. And so they, of course, T-Mobile jumped on it and fixed all of that. That's an example of the many things that happened. Not too long ago, a Nissan Leaf car was totally remote controlled via an API that was obviously not protected.
Yep.
And so again,
so many things.
Those are the visible one, right? Most of them are invisible, or most of them are visible, but not to the point where the company has to make them visible.
Or unreported,
Or unreported. So the ones you have to report is when you have data theft that contain private data under regulated industry. But a lot of companies have been attacked through their APIs that they only discover as usual months later or never discover.
And now regarding API security, would you say it's different from web service or web application security, and how?
So it's very different. And I'll give you an example. If you have a mobile phone, and let's say you use your mobile phone to go and, I don't know, a travel site, your bank account, and so forth, that application doesn't go through the normal web.
Okay.
That application goes straight to a bunch of APIs that connect into the application and your data. And so it bypasses your traditional web interface because the phone doesn't use a web interface. Right? It's an example. The list goes on. So the web services, by the way, have APIs behind. So you have a web interface, you have a UI, and you have APIs behind that connect you to the app and the data. So the hackers go either after the web interface or around it straight to the API. And so the APIs are now the interface. And web services, so the traditional web security of the past was mostly focused on things that are what in the world of security we consider software bugs, things called SQL injection, cross-site scripting. If you use the right developer language, this will never happen. Or if you use the right code inspection, you can knock them out. But traditional web security was looking for SQL injection and cross-site scripting or as a form of command injection. That's about it. Now imagine the perfect world where you have perfect code. Hacker doesn't care. It's still going to go after your API and try to defeat the login environment and get in, steal one of your identifier, like a cookie, steal a token, and is in, or brute force attack the login. And so I've spent the last 25 years in security. With hacker, is not if they're going to defeat that password and user account ID, is how much time it's going to take them.
It's when,
They're going to go.
Yeah.
So the key is to understand the attack on the login, the identifier, and the identity theft that's going on, and then post-login, anything that's happening. So that's kind of what we focused on, among others. But that's how it differs. It's no longer about cross-site scripting and SQL injection. Hackers are going straight after the data, and straight after the account, and straight after the apps.
Okay. And so now I know that web application security has evolved over the past decade as well. Why do you think people aren't taking API security as seriously as they should?
Yeah, they really are, actually.
Yeah? Hey, that's good then.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen. It's remarkable for a small company like us to be approached directly by what we consider Fortune 100 type companies that come straight to us. And so when we interact with them, it doesn't take much before we really engage with them.
Yeah.
They take it very seriously. I think the attacks, I mean, we've seen a lot of attacks, not all through APIs, but one thing those attacks have revealed, like the Equifax attacks, is the damage an attack can do to the brand, the damage it can do to the business.
Yeah.
And in the case of Equifax, they may never recover at the end of the day. So the big Fortune accounts or Fortune companies are taking it very seriously, and they understand how exposed they are with APIs. Yet they know they need to provide APIs because that's the only way to build a modern environment for your own developer ecosystem, your partner, your customers.
Still necessary,
It's necessary. So now what do they need for protection? In Europe, they have two big initiatives. One driven out of the European Union called PSD2, where they are forcing all the banks to open up their APIs.
Oh, okay.
Deadline January 2018.
Wow, soon.
Or they get fined.
Wow.
So the big global system integrators have all jumped in to open up the APIs for the bank. The reason is they want what they call charter banks, or think of it as starter banks, to interact with them. So if you have an account with a major bank in Europe, you will go on your application and suddenly you will be presented with fund transfers from another bank or money exchange from another bank. The European Union is forcing all the banks to permit this integration and give people more choices.
Okay.
And that's done via APIs. So, and in UK, they have this open banking initiative. So, same thing. So, at the end of the day, everyone is realizing they need to understand what's going on with that traffic. They need to be able to inspect it, and they need to be able to detect the attack on the APIs. And at the very least, they have to be able to show they're in compliance with all the regulations. So that's where we come in typically.
Okay, got it. And so now, can you cite any examples of any big breaches because of API insecurities besides Equifax? And why do you think even large companies are failing at securing their APIs so well?
So API security is very hard.
Yeah,
it's really hard. It's really so it takes a lot of expertise. Number one, but it takes automating. In general, security is all about automation. You cannot let the human side of it play a role in guaranteeing that you have certain things happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just bad. If you listen to the testimony of the CEO of Equifax when he went to the Senate on his congressional, he mentioned, we had one person who didn't do his job. Listen to the testimony. It's really
blamed
remarkable.
One guy.
But in fact, security is about automation. You have to automate the discovery of your vulnerability, the patching, everything. So API security is really hard on top of it because it's layer 7 of the traffic, knowing everything going on. You have those DDoS attacks on it that are below the radar. Netflix showed how they could take a whole data center down with just a couple of API calls. And it was a demonstration they showed at DEF CON in July in Las Vegas, part of the Black Hat conference.
Okay.
And we know the guys behind that attack quite well. But it was a demonstration, and of course it was very visible because they made it visible.
Yes, yes.
But look, Instagram, Apple, we talked about it already, were impacting, I think, the human side a lot, right? So if you were a person that had some visibility in Hollywood and your nude pictures made it on the web, that's very impacting, right?
Yeah.
It's not what you want. And yet, when they go after your bank account, and that happened recently, where a bank had literally to put money back for every one of their customers into the bank account, and they empty your bank account, it's also very personal too.
Yeah.
But then you have the attacks on hospitals and private medical records. They happen too.
They're really serious.
And so most of this stuff goes underreported or reported or very visible, but they are very real. And at the end of the day, it's just going to escalate because hackers are getting smarter. They themselves too are using machine learning and AI to attack.
Of course,
And so it's an incredible attack surface. And it's just going to get worse because the whole world of, you remember we were talking about the whole micrologic around literally splitting big application into smaller bundle. It creates a bigger attack surface.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, the hackers are going to go after that too. So it's very difficult. Even if you encrypt all your traffic, the hackers will still find a way to get in the middle of it, steal an identity and get in. It is not as difficult as people think to steal a cookie or steal a token.
Yeah.
Once they have a token, they're free access.
You're in.
So in the world of API security, it's really difficult. It's for most organizations, we have great talent, a very humbling experience. And that's why we decided to build tools that will help them automate as much of that as possible. But it's a difficult problem, let me put it this way.
It is, absolutely. And so now, what is unique about Elastic Beam's solution?
So I think we were the first, and we're still the only one, we treated the problem as a big data problem.
Okay.
If you are a bank, if you are a big retailer, you run typically in a multi-cloud environment and with tens and hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. In a typical IoT environment, it's even bigger. So if you're going to capture the data on that traffic, it's very quickly overwhelming.
Yes.
And a traditional company cannot handle it that way. And so we treat it as a big data problem, and we use machine learning and AI algorithm to sort it all out. So we were able to report on all the traffic down to everything done by anyone on any API at any time. With AI and machine learning. Being able to detect an attack in all of this is even harder. It's a needle, it's a big haystack. But with AI, we can, for example, identify 3-4 type of DDoS attacks that no one can see, but they are very targeted and they destroy API infrastructures. And we can tell you the IP address involved. We can block them automatically. But you need to treat it as a big data problem because the data sets are humongous. And then you need to look at algorithms that can look at everything at the same time and decide what's really not normal. And so the unique part is the ability to solve that problem. And then we try to be smarter and outsmart a hacker. And so that's when we decide to be able to embed fake APIs into real APIs, so that as a hacker, he starts probing all the APIs, it's likely to touch one of those fake ones, and we will know it's a hacker.
Yeah.
By the way, we can give you the name of every API name a hacker is trying on the system.
Wow.
So you can actually use that to auto-program your own fake APIs and get him next time. So that's kind of, so the uniqueness is this ability to treat this as a big data set with AI.
Okay. And so lastly, what is on the company roadmap for 2018?
We have, so everything we do is at very large scale for very big customers. So they tend to be very big international companies with many clouds. So today, we can, any attack detected in one cloud, we can automatically propagate it to all of the other clouds.
Okay.
So that if the hacker comes back to another cloud, it is also blocked.
Wow.
So now many customers have been asking us to now share the attack knowledge among themselves. So a bank that will detect an attack, be able to have a cloud service where they can opt in, share the attack information, and it's only the attack source. So it's an IP address, it's a port number, it's a cookie.
The exact type, yeah.
The exact type, nothing else. And share that with the other customer. So if we went from one bank to the next bank, it's instantly blocked. So roadmap, part of the roadmap is that sharing service that customers have been asking for. And we have gone it even more crafty on our AI. We're now capable, we can recognize attacks, right? Any form of attacks. And hackers can automate the attacks greatly across. By the way, they're pretty smart. They can use the own bank application to attack the bank. So traditional techniques that are about guaranteeing it's a bank application and not something else don't work anymore. They built automation on top of the bank application to attack the bank. And so we developed a new set of algorithms to actually detect human behind this or no human. And we're going to put that on the market next year. We will be able to tell you there's a human here or there's no human. And it's no human, of course, in a non-IoT world. It's a hacker with a very fancy automated attack pattern going on. So we have much more, obviously, on a roadmap than I can share. But these are a couple of stuff I can share with you today.
Oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much for speaking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Marley. Happy to be here.
Good.
Thanks.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today, so be sure to tune in next time for another episode of Access Point. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook so you don't miss out on any of the latest cybersecurity news. This episode is brought to you by Pentester Academy, the leader in online cybersecurity education. Join over 10,000 professionals from 90 countries to learn security online. Also brought to you by Hacker Arsenal, artillery for cyber warriors. Visit us on hackerarsenal.com to check out our latest attack defense gadgets. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.